Hello, I'm Dan,
And I'm Can.
and this is a Candid Conversation. Oh, you had a little bowl tonight, huh?
Was it quieter? Because my microphone's in a different spot, remember? So
It was a little
farther away
quieter.
from it. Okay.
So
I could have hit it harder, but
you got to hit, they got to smack that shit. So, all right, what do you got ready for us? Set us up. Let us know what we're doing.
I don't. It was a TikTok that I watched, and I was like, "Hey, we should talk about this on the podcast." And I don't remember exactly what it was about, so I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this." It's about, I think, just the way Christians, the worldview that Christians have, how they think about the world, and how Christians tend to be conservative, right? And how liberals who might tend to not be conservative, or they're not conservative for sure, but they don't have the same kind of worldview, and how that is playing into things. So we'll play a little bit of it, maybe not the whole video. We'll see once he makes the main point. And then, so we'll just play it till he makes the main point. Then we will discuss how we view it. Okay?
Okay. Sounds
Let's talk
good.
about it. All right, I'm going to share it.
New technology we're playing with, folks. Oh, I got no volume. I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything. Okay, hang on a second. Let me... Oh, sorry. Okay, let's start that over.
Yeah. Bear with
America's
us.
divisions go way beyond Republican and Democrat. And I want to share one of the things that I see that so often I think people on either side of any issue don't empathize with the people on the other side. Now, I know that my algorithm is going to push me more towards people who are leftists, and so I'll talk to you first, but then I also want to give some moment at the end to reflect on the empathy from the other side. If you're on the left, one of the things that you may not realize about many people in this country is that they believe in their hearts that all human beings are intrinsically evil. Now, this was crazy for me, but when I was in evangelicalism, there was this thing called TULIP, and it's like Calvinism, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to know all the specifics, but you can look it up if you want to. One of the fundamental tenets is this idea that human beings are intrinsically evil. That I asked actually the pastor who excommunicated me, who had a child recently, and I said, when that child was born, were they evil? And he looked at me dead in the eye and said, yes, this child is evil. And I want you to think about what that means for their mentality towards all these different issues that we see. If you believe that every human being is fundamentally evil, and the only reason that any human being does not commit gross atrocities is because of the social pressure around them or the social pressure from this deity that is in their mind, what does that mean for their attitude towards immigrants? What does that mean towards their attitude towards homeless people, poor people? What is their attitude then towards conflicts in other countries? What is their attitude towards poverty and injustice? If you believe that human beings are fundamentally evil, and the only reason that I and the people I love are safe is because we are more violently evil than everybody else, that is going to make you vote a certain way. And you may ask themselves, by what logic, by what reasoning, by what evidence do they have of this? And here is where it is wild. The reasoning is because they internally, at some point, have had sexual desire for somebody that they weren't supposed to. And that feeling, and we've all, unless you are asexual, you have experienced that feeling of overwhelming attraction, of desire. If you are a creationist, it should be the idea that we were made to reproduce. If you're an evolutionary,
Okay, I don't really want to go down that route that he's taking it, though it's an interesting question. So I'm going to stop it there. But, okay, so when I was listening to this, I thought, well, that's true, because first of all, we were conservative Christians for the longest time. And the viewpoint is you're intrinsically evil, right? From birth. Before birth, you're conceived in sin. I think there's a scripture verse that David uses. Okay, so if that's the case, and then you have people like now, how I would see humans is they're intrinsically good, right? Or maybe not even necessarily good, but kind of just like a blank, not neither good nor evil. They're just kind of fresh and new, and there's no imprint really, right? But the core of them is good, is love, I would say. So that would be good.
Yes.
You have these two diametrically opposed worldviews of humankind. And so if I think that the world is, that humans are evil, I'm going to assume that everybody has like evil intentions, right? Unless they have Christian slapped on it. And then all of a sudden Jesus makes them magically not, right? That's how we kind of viewed it, or how I did. Jesus is what actually made you. Now they're good because they believe in Jesus.
You have a set of morals that are ruling and guiding over you to.
Well, you have Jesus
maintain
inside you,
Yeah.
which made the difference to me,
Yeah.
right?
But you now understand what's good and evil. You've been,
Yeah.
your eyes have been opened.
You're still going to make mistakes, but you're not going to like do really, really bad stuff,
And you
right?
have the fear. You put that fear of doing evil, then is going to get you into the naughty place, the not good place down there.
Yeah.
So,
So, but then you also have people who, like I would be now, thinking that you're good at the core. And so all the things that you're doing on top of, you know, that don't look very good are due to trauma or due to, you know, something else going on. You're not like an evil person at the core. It's just, these are just, I don't even know if this is a barrier that can be crossed. A lot of times the people who believe people are good or that love is the core have been the people that thought it wasn't at one point.
yeah,
That's what it seems like to me.
deconstructed. So
Yes.
you look at, and it's easy to say humanity's evil. You just look at the history of humankind, and there's been a lot of evils that have been perpetrated upon the people by whatever. So you've had just annihilation of cultures and peoples of all sorts of different ways from different belief systems put upon other people at all different times. So you see this evil that's out there. So it's almost a justification of humankind is inherently evil. Their hearts, as we were taught, our heart's desire is to do evil until you give your heart over to Jesus, so he can reconstruct it and make it into what it needs to be and actually perform good in the world. But the definition of good is what? It's not loving your neighbor. It's not from the
definition of good from a Christian perspective.
And I'm thinking
saying?
of it in a practical perspective of the Christian perspective. It's not love your neighbor. It's not be kind. It's you have to think
Believe
of them
in Jesus,
as we were taught, in light of eternity,
doing good and doing for them whatever is best in light of eternity. So if your idea of eternity is they'll go to hell if they don't believe like you,
so you can treat them
then
like
what you
shit
do is
and beat them down and judge them and condemn them and their behaviors because
in hopes
that's
that
what's
they
going
turn to God because of it. Yeah.
So you're doing what's right in the light of eternity there. So it allows you to what can be perceived by the outside as you're just an awful person. You don't care about these people and what they want to do. And they're like, no, I'm doing good. I'm trying to expose the evilness in them so that they can become good.
Thus, why they would want to legislate their belief systems because they're like, we'll just force you to act like this.
Which goes against everything that the Bible teaches.
I know it does. But at least what Jesus was teaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like we'll just legislate it, and then you have to. And I don't know how that just makes them feel better because you're pretending, and how would you ever? It's not going to make you go to heaven because you're being a big fat liar. You're not really being what's true to you.
Yeah. So when you look at that, I mean, and you put that in the mindset. So everyone's evil, but since I believe this way, I have this special pass. I'm evil, but I've been given this pass to allow me to be good
Because now all of
now.
a sudden I'm good because I have the belief. But that's because they believe
Yeah.
Jesus or the Holy Spirit, let's say, is in them and not in everybody else.
But what that leads
Just
to,
in them
like
because
you were
they've
saying,
believed.
is how they're going to treat homeless, how they're going to treat immigrants, is that these people don't have it. So they're naturally evil. So now I got this pass. I'm better than everyone else. You know, I have this the supernatural thing that elevates me. So I can treat them
I'm
as
favored
such.
by God.
Yeah. My favor allows me to treat you the way I think I should treat you. You're not like me. So you get punished. You're in this situation. You're getting deported because you don't believe like me. That's why you were born in a different country and trying to get into here.
Well, and how do I know you don't believe like me? Because you broke the rules, and Christians don't do that, even though Christians break the rules all the time.
Oh, yeah. But
you know what I'm saying? It's not a consistent,
but they're washed in the blood of
religion.
Jesus, so it's all forgiven.
Yeah.
These people haven't
but
accepted
he's not going
it.
to forgive you because you don't believe that he died on the cross for sin. So sorry, you're out.
So you can
So
look
it is
at
based on their
homeless people and say, well, that's due to some sort of reason you fell out of God's favor, and this is, you know, you got to hit the bottom before you can reach out. And
or you're an
finally
addict,
accept it.
or you're LGBTQ, or
So it allows you to cast these judgments and dispersions upon other people because you've elevated yourself. You got the truth. You got the special card. You got the special pass. So you're better. And you've seen the truth. And that truth helps me interpret that your lower position in life means they have been blessed with the grace of God.
Well, and it also can make it so that they can turn a blind eye to, let's say, people who are suffering in another country where Christianity is not the main religion. Let's say Muslim or Islam is the main religion. They don't feel as...
Well, you look at Gaza.
Yeah, they don't feel as... Like, hey, they're now they're not racking up more sins. We'll just kill them off, and then they don't get to rack up more sins. So their punishment, even though we were taught as evangelicals that like hell is hell, it's just all bad, right? There's no pleasant part, and it's eternal for all of them. So it's like, oh, well, they're not racking it up. How about if they're going to spend eternity in hell, give them a great life on earth?
Taught like that, but it wasn't. Ever since Dante wrote the Inferno.
Yeah.
Now there was levels of hell, circles of hell that you can enter into. So the deeper circles of hell were for the more egregious sins, murder and assault.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really taught that part. And isn't that the whole idea where health, like we understand it, came from anyways?
Yeah.
Like there wasn't that idea of an eternal torture pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it says more about their God than anything else, that their God is this petty little thing that, oh, you don't believe in me? Well, you're going to be homeless. I'm not going to look after you. I'm going to let you be miserable.
I'm not going to help you, even though I brought you into, some of these people were brought into like very terrible conditions and had to run away, or they turned to drugs to cope with their situation.
They had some sort of trauma that they had to cope with.
Yeah. And to make it even worse.
Yeah.
If a parent could stop them.
Yeah.
Let's say a parent sees their kid is getting a drug, they have an addiction to some sort of drug. If a parent had the ability to stop their child, a loving parent would do whatever they could, right? To stop them. But supposedly God has the ability to do it, but he doesn't. He just lets them like go. And they'll be like, oh, that's because of free will. So you have all these little ways they can get around just actually acknowledging that their God's a douche, that he is not a good person or a good God or whatever. And I'm not saying that Jesus wasn't
No, they just misinterpreted
preaching something that was true. They completely have misconstrued what Jesus was teaching and turned it into a religion, turned it into you have to
turned it into a hierarchical
agree with them
system.
Yeah. Yes. Or you're out. But
We're
it's
above
just,
and everyone else is below. You know, we're saved. We're higher up on the ladder. we're better on the food chain. So that way we can not have to support you. You need to keep, you want to get into our country because
because we have the best country in the whole wide world.
You've
and it's
been
like,
oppressed
really?
and you're fighting to get in here so you can gain some of it. But there's a reason why you're oppressed, and you have to reconcile with God and figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. But if it was the shoe was on the other foot and they wanted to flee because they were being oppressed here, for real, that's the only way I think they would understand is if it actually affected them in that way. Which is sad because then that's a hard lesson to learn when it has to be that way. Because some people, and myself included, as a child, your parents told you certain things like don't do these things, and then you had to learn the hard way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I guess one of the other things I wanted to point out about this is if they have that mindset, then they have that mindset about themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when you say to somebody, like when I first began to deconstruct and I was talking about, I think, hell, like one of the first things people would say to me is like, then you're okay with murder because you don't believe hell is a place. Like, they're not going to get punished, eternally punished. Like, what's the point? And it's like, I don't think murder's like good. I don't know, but that's what they would jump to. So it's like, do you want to murder? Is that what is hell? The fear of hell is the only thing that's keeping you from wanting to murder?
And if you were to go around the world and interview people from different cultures and faiths and everything else, an overwhelming majority of them would say, yeah, murder is wrong.
Yes. Because murder is the rarer thing to happen to people, believe it or not. It's not.
Which goes to the point of that people have this internal code of what's right and wrong. And they have this internal code to be good because they want to live peaceably. We have this overwhelming urge to be part of a group, to be part of a pack, a herd. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, you have to be willing to live within that herd, that group, and not harm anyone within it. Because if you start causing chaos and harm, you're going to opt out of that group because you're not benefiting them. You're causing problems. So you naturally have this instinct to be good instead of wanting to cause evil. Now, are there exceptions? Yeah. But there's reasons for them exceptions. A lot of times it's trauma that happened or upbringing or whatever it may be.
And also the view of what's good and what's evil is all warped in a lot of Christians' minds. Like they would say being gay is evil. It's not evil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they would say it's evil, like it's a perversion of the truth. And that's not true. That's not true. You see it actually in nature too. You see animals doing that who do not sin. Animals. Yeah,
you had Big Gay Al's Animal Sanctuary on South Park.
That's natural. It's nature right there.
Roar.
But it's like, that's part of it. It's just interesting to be on the other side and to think, now I'm feeling that people at the core are loving. They would naturally love and care for one another. If their needs were met and things are, we wouldn't naturally, if there's not scarcity, we help one another. And you see that come out when there is like a traumatic event like 9/11. Look, people kind of were helping one another. Yeah. And yes, there was a fear of an other, which was created. But let's say we tend to have this natural desire to create the other too, which is interesting. To create an enemy
of life. In order to experience the good, you have to have the bad. So if you want to have good in your life, you have to have evil also, so you can understand the contrast between.
Well, yeah, so and they're kind of both necessary in a way. They are, and there is a Bible verse that says where God claims to be the creator of good and evil. So he's like, I create calamity, which is the word evil, and good. So, yes, there's yin and there's yang. There's both opposites. You need good and evil. Without evil, good doesn't exist. Without good, evil doesn't exist. So there are these opposites, right? So, I mean, I guess maybe I would say maybe we're not good. We're good or evil. We're just neutral. We come in here and we learn what's good or evil, which is true. We do learn. But is there some intrinsic things that we kind of know that our subconscious collectively has learned not to kill one another?
Yeah.
That it's not a good thing to harm one another? Maybe, yeah.
And so, it's cultures are going to have different things. So if we do something over in a different culture, it could be considered off-putting and evil, but it's natural and normal here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, but that's just cultural differences between us and how we grew up and how we were raised. That you consider this to be bad. We don't. Just
like the word fanny.
Yeah.
The word fanny in America means something very different in Europe.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just wanted to point that out, that I thought it was interesting that, those two worldviews are a very different way of looking at the world. And so you're going to have confirmation bias that's going to back it up. So if you believe that people are kind of neutral, you might look at, oh, this is interesting. Where did they learn that type of behavior? Where did they...
It opens up to the exploration.
Yeah, it makes you more curious. But if you believe everybody's evil at the core, then you're just going to notice every negative thing that's done, and you're going to think the world is a scary place, and you're going to, it will affect how you live and how you view others, and that's what we're seeing today. Because Christians think this way, they view the world in a very different way than others who don't think that way.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, it paints your whole perspective on life. So when everyone's evil and the world is evil and sinful,
needs to be completely burnt up.
You live in fear of that. And you don't want to be part of that because you have to be set apart from it. So I can't participate in all this stuff. And it shuts down any experience of anything to be out there. When you break free from that mindset, you get curious and you start to explore and be like, okay, why this isn't as bad as I thought. You think of a Christian perspective, the internet is evil. We can't have our kids on it. Outside of the Christian perspective is, there are evils on the internet, but there's a lot of good on the internet too. So how do we weigh this out? How do we protect ourselves, protect our children?
Have discernment and rightfully divide it, which is the same with the Bible. When you're in Christianity, you're taught the Bible is good no matter what. You get outside and you're like, there's some good in there, but there's some bad in there too. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to, it's with everything, to have some discernment skills, which theirs are all mixed up when they think that then they have to justify everything that the Old Testament God especially was doing, which was absolutely horrible. Yeah. And then they misconstrue things that Jesus said, and that has to be defended where it sounds awful, and instead of maybe thinking maybe that's not what he's referring to, or maybe that's wrong. Yep. And we can say that it's wrong. So anyways, I just wanted to talk about that. And maybe this was beneficial, maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
That's all I had to talk about tonight. What did I do with my pen? Oh, there it is. All right. So, all right. Yeah. Well, hopefully you got some nuggets out of that little tidbit there. So if you did, go to YouTube. If you're watching on there, give us a like, follow, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Leave us a comment. If you were listening on a podcast streamer, give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate that greatly. If you got some time, leave us a comment. We appreciate all them. It just helps us get out and moves us and gets us a little more exposure, and we'd like to expose ourselves upon the world.
Okay. So, No.
Okay. And if you go down on anything you're listening to, look down there. We have a bunch of links. You can get on dannycan.com. That takes us to our home site and everything we have going on there. So click on that and get into that. There's some other links on there directly to the Candy Substack and whatnot. But all the stuff that we're doing, you can get on there through dannycan.com. You can reach out to us and email us through there. So yeah, get in there and click on all that and become part of the community. Explore the space that we're offering to you. But other than that,
there's good and there's bad in it. Just like everything else.
Just like everything else. So enjoy your weekend, folks. Have a glorious, glorious weekend. All right.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.